Hello everybody and welcome to another Ogrecast. I'm Ogre. I'll be your host for this game of StarCraft 2. It's a 3v3 featuring me, Ogre, right here as the red Terran. We got Zero as the teal Terran, who is a friend of mine. We play fairly often. And also Eladimir is going to be the blue Protoss. One of the themes of this game is going to be the massive amounts of pinging. The three of us were actually all on Skype together, so we were able to talk about like our strategy and things like that. But obviously, had to use pings to be able to tell exactly where on the map we were talking about. So that's gonna be why there's so many pings, I think, during this game. I don't know how many of them are actually the opponent's pings. Or if my replay would actually save the opponent's pings. Probably not. But anyway, so our opponents are going to be three Protoss players, actually. We got Mish as orange, Achu as purple, and Kara is going to be the yellow Protoss. So I think it's okay now to slow it down a bit. Kara has actually scouted. Yeah, he's had this, or oh, I guess that's Achu, whose probe has all been around. He's got a pretty good scout off on our early game. If we just take a look, well, he scouted the tech lab for my barracks. He's got a good idea. I think that's 3 gateways. 1, 2, yeah, 3 gateways and a cyber core. He was able to scout there. And for Zero, he scouted a barracks. So pretty decent scout for just one probe being sent in. The other two players, Kara and Mish, didn't have to send in a probe to go scout, so good job by Achu. Right now I've got some Marauders coming out because obviously there is an all Protoss enemy, so Marauders are pretty good against Protoss. I like them. I got a reactor down on one of my barracks. I have a factory coming up and an engineering bay. Now the reason I got an engineering bay is that I don't know, I was just a little bit afraid that they were going air because we hadn't seen any ground units come in yet or anything like that. We didn't have a super good scout off, I don't think, so anyway, I just thought getting an engineering bay, you know, in 3v3, always a good idea to be ready to throw up like one turret. I think that's what I got this guy standing here for, is he's going to throw up a turret. So looks like Eladimir's probe gets taken out, so at that point we know at least one person's going ground attack. And yeah, down goes the missile turret there. So let's see. We got Kara warping in a proxy pylon right in the corner of our base there. Definitely going to be scouted. These guys are going for pretty much a decent push at the very start here. I definitely have enough Marauders target firing that it's going to do some significant damage. Able to pick off a couple warping in units, which is always easier than letting them warp in fully or fighting the already warped in units as opposed to getting the warping in units. Unfortunately, Zero here targets that pylon and said really could have done more damage if he was target firing on the stalkers with myself and Eladimir. But we're able to repel this. They have a strategic withdrawal there. A good thing that they did, though, was during the attack they got up. Well, they started expanding there. Eladimir does the same just as soon as we repel that attack. So generally a good idea. Yeah, we're both myself and Zero are still pumping out Marines Marauders. He's doing a pretty good job. Looks like all the incomes are relatively similar except for Zero. Not sure why Zero is so far behind, I guess. If we take a look at the units tab, he's only got 19 SCVs to the rest of our 26 up to 29. So because he got that orbital command, it's fairly common for Terran to be a little bit behind on SCVs compared to Protoss. However, the mules definitely make up for the difference as long as you don't have to keep using those scans. So the orbital command should catch him up eventually. Now, looks like Eladimir and myself are just massing up kind of right here on. I'm not sure what he's ping. Oh, I asked him to go stand by the watchtower just so that we have better vision than we had. He was standing too far away from it, and now we can see. I think just on the edge of our vision that Achu has a proxy pylon over there. If we were paying attention, we should really be able to take that out. No, it's actually not in our view, which is why we don't go take it out. But yeah, still just expanding and letting our economies build up. Almost have my command center up. Eladimir is up and running. A little bit of saturation there. Zero has not quite started his command center yet. He has 925 minerals saved up, so definitely could have started that command center ages and ages ago. But he's, I guess, not as quick with his macro as myself or Eladimir. Now, let's just take a look in my base what I'm doing. I'm getting my armory up for some Thors. I got a starport, and I'm thinking of pumping some medevacs, I guess, before I get a tech lab on that. Actually, I usually get a reactor, but I think this game I just decided that I wanted to try it with tech lab. Morphing in a planetary fortress, this is definitely the most common place to be pushed on this map. You know, sometimes people go for the back door, but it's so much smaller that I think having a planetary fortress in this position is really, really strong. We're actually planning on Zero getting a planetary fortress at the back door as well. So if they want to be aggressive and push up in our base, it's definitely gonna be a lot more difficult because we've got our planetary fortresses there, rather than if, say, for example, we push up into their base, they don't have that advantage. So and plus we've got siege tanks. Just generally the Terran can have such a fortified position that it's better for them to sit back and keep expanding and force us to be on the move more often, because that keeps our tanks unsieged and moving around, and definitely Protoss has more mobility than Terran. So yeah, I'm keeping my macro pretty decent. Only got 300 minerals in the bank there. And what do we got on that ping? I'm not exactly sure. I think probably planning on massing up there and seeing if we can push in for an attack. Looks like there's some. Eladimir's got a proxy pylon up over on the southeast, and an expansion going up for Mish up in the northwest. So we'll see how long it takes for that to get scouted, but we are definitely starting to see, I think, the Protoss wanting to expand more. Although, look at this, like, no saturation at this expansion here. And if we just take a look at the income tab, yeah, look, Mish is still down at 800, and on 2 bases, oversaturated at the main here, and you know, getting up another expansion before this one's even saturated at all. Looks like Kara is planning on pushing out a little bit here. Oh no, just going to pick off that observer. We've got 2 observers on the field here. I mean, I think with 3 Protoss, they're going to get some good scouting around, and hopefully for them, be able to use that to their advantage to pick off any kind of expansions that we try to get. Really, their strategy here is to bottle us up so that we don't get these expansions. Now, this is kind of funny what Achu is doing here. Taking this bottom right expansion, normally that's an expansion that the south people will take. So if Achu can actually get this up and mining, even if it only lasts about half the duration, that's a bunch of minerals that that we aren't going to be able to get our hands on. So an interesting move. It's a little bit risky. Oh, looks like Achu is getting the Dark Templar, and that could actually, well, we've got a couple of well, at least one orbital command each on our side, so should be able to scan this without too much trouble. Just take a look and see how much damage it can cause. Yeah, it definitely goes straight for me. Although, look at that. She was going for the planetary fortress rather than killing off SCVs. I've got 2 turrets coming up here. The scan goes off and the planetary fortress just absolutely obliterates that DT. It's a good place to have turrets. I probably should have had them up earlier right here, at least one, so that no sneakiness can get through the front gate. Eladimir decides to push out, and looks like he's headed to the right. Yeah, definitely, finally spots Achu's proxy pylon there. And Kara has a scout on him because of that proxy pylon. Moves the troops out. It's going to be kind of interesting. I don't know why Kara's actually dividing up the troops here. I think maybe expecting that a battle's going to come on and hoping that they can get more of a surround. Good pylon placement here, able to warp units in on the low ground. Now we've got some transferring probes, and Eladimir is crawling his way in here. He spots Kara's base and is going to start to take it down. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, Kara's coming in from the back. Going to have Eladimir cut off from any possible retreat. And this could be trouble for Eladimir if he doesn't get any help in here. He's got a bunch of stalkers in the front. They're going to be definitely weak, although Kara's getting zealots trapped right in the middle of his stalkers. The Colossi definitely doing a good job of doing some damage. I start moving my troops in here. I see that there are some troops to get intercepted. I really want to siege up my tanks before engaging in any kind of battle, even though Eladimir is in trouble. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to bait these guys back to my siege tanks, and Zero is moving in to provide some support here. I want the Immortals to move forward, but Zero is holding up the front here, just a little bit too far ahead for my liking. He does move back. I asked him to move back so that the siege tanks will be able to hit all of these units, and now the siege tanks are able to do the damage. I got to scan off so that we can take some pot shots at those DTs, and looks like my SCV was trying to be a hero and chase these guys off, but at the cost of that SCV, looks like he's going to lose at least one zealot. Going to be able to clean up a few units here of Kara's and definitely push in here. Achu and Misha they don't have enough troops to come in and save the day for Kara's expansion. I have plenty of siege tanks sitting here. We're chasing the Colossi back for Kara. Looks like Eladimir has a bad rally point for his Immortal there. Definitely gets taken out. We can get rid of that cannon there, and Eladimir backs out, losing one stalker to that force. Oh, a little fight on the back here. Mish has warped in some stalkers, had them on the high ground, but unfortunately for him, it wasn't quite enough to do any serious damage. Mish is getting out of there, still has some Templar. We have spotted this base in the bottom right, so Achu not able to mine these out too much, only about 100 or so minerals off of each mineral patch. Still did a little bit of damage, but definitely not worth the investment here if we can take this out without taking too much damage. Looks like I'm still streaming in some Marines and Marauders and a siege tank from rallied to my army here. But definitely very strong for the three of us to keep our armies together like this. There is something going on up here. I have tried to land my command center up in the top left, and I have found yet another base for Achu, who is just getting it up, putting down a whole bunch of cannons. Well, it has 4 cannons queued up there. Looks like we're going to push out and try to get across the map to take that out. They are sending a huge army to go and try to split us up. Unfortunately, my units here are caught in no man's land, split up from the rest of the group. I spot these guys. I tried desperately to get my tank sieged up, but it is way too late. Storm's going down all over all of my troops, taking them out. That bio is just getting obliterated. There is nothing that any of my teammates can do to come save me, and it looks to me like my entire force is going to go down. We'll see if I can save a couple of medevacs. And my rally point just does not do it for that. Oh, I pick up my Thor. My Thor is currently at very, very few hit points. drop him off there just